I'll be teaching you how to sew this underbust gathered Basque gown you are seeing right here with a deep V neckline. It also has a long sleeve, as you can see also, and it has an elastic at the hemline. This is another version of it with another fabric. So for this particular outfit, you really need the neckline very deep. But mine, I did not make it deep. So you can see where the neckline stopped. So if you want it this way, the way it is on the video, you have to get it up to that deep neckline to have that exact effect. Okay, so I'll be sharing with you the tips and tricks to making it the way it is exactly on the video. If you want the neckline higher or lower, I'll share the tips with you. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial. So like I said, you can follow this tutorial and make your neckline as deep as it is on the video. So let's dive into this tutorial right now. So I made use of only 3 yards of crepe fabric. You can use crepe, you can use cotton, you can use any light fabric for this project. Even Ankara will sew it. We will start by drafting our border line. I'll place my tape on the shoulder line. I'll mark my chest line, under bust. Next is your waistline. And we are going to count 5 inches below our waistline for the Basque line. Then I'm going to mark the same lines again on the other side just to get a straight line. Then we are going to rule our lines across. Here is my shoulder line, chest line, under bust line, waist, and the Basque line. This is the center front line. Place your tape on the shoulder line and measure your shoulder divide by 2 and mark on the chest line. Come down by 1 inch for the shoulder drop. Neck width is 3.5 inches. I'm going to connect from the neck width to the shoulder drop and make a straight line for my armhole. I'm going to get the midpoint of my armhole, go in by 3/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to connect my armhole. On the chest line, you take your bust circumference divide by 4 and connect your armhole line for the front. After marking the armhole, next we'll go over to the waistline, the under bust line. Measure your under bust divide by 4 and mark. Then you go over to the waistline, measure your waist circumference divide by 4 and mark. You go over to the Basque line. On the Basque line, you measure the hip circumference divide by 4 and mark. Then we are going to connect under bust to waistline, chest to under bust line, waistline to the Basque line. This is the basic bodice right now. So on the under bust, you are going to come up by 2.5. I came up by 2.5 from my under bust, 2.5 inches, and I'm going to connect it the way you see me do right here into the under bust line. So after connecting this part, we'll go over to connect the neckline, which I explained earlier in this video. So you can see where I place my ruler. If you want exactly what we have on that video, you just take your ruler all the way down. But I just want my neckline at 7 inches. I don't want it that deep. So I'm marking 7 inches for my neckline, but I'm going to connect to the actual neckline we have on the video. So if you want to follow the video and the thumbnail, just mark to the point I marked. But the dotted line I'm marking to 7 inches is the neckline I'm going to use, 7 inches. I don't want it that deep, okay? So I'm using the dotted line as my neckline. You can choose the first line as your neckline. Now we are going over to the Basque. From the Basque area, I'm going to come up by 3 inches. You come up on the side by 3 inches and come down at the center front by 1 inch. Then connect your Basque line. So here is my center front, and I'll call the center front unfold. We have finished the front piece now. If you are busty or if you're on a plus size, you are going to mark your nipple to nipple point on the under bust line. Then you are going to divide your shoulder by 2. We want to create a dart for you, so your bust will have enough space to enter. So on that dotted line, we'll create a dart, and I'll show you how to go about it if you are on a plus size. So we are going over to the back. I'm going to extend the lines, the waistline and the basque line. I did not extend the underbust line because we don't have any underbust cut unless you want to cut that part. So here is my center back. I'll take my shoulder divide by 2 and take it again on the chest line. Neck width is 3 inches and neck depth is 1 inch for the back. I'm going to connect my neck line. Shoulder drop is 1 inch and I'm going to connect my shoulder slant. I'll mark a straight line for my armhole. I'm going to get the midpoint for my armhole right now. Go in by 0.5 inches for the back armhole. Connect my armhole. Chest divide by 4. I'm going to mark and complete my armhole. So the back is really very simple. On the waistline, you mark your waist divide by 4. This dress is actually dartless. Then on the basque line, you mark your hip circumference divide by 4 and we are going to connect. After that, we are going to come up with 3 inches too on the side and come down by 1 inch at the center back, just like we did for the front. Don't forget the zipper bulge line on the waistline. We are going to contour by 1 inch. So that contour line 1 inch, of course you know how to connect it to the hip line and to the neckline. So this part we are going to cut it off, but we are going to replace it by the side. I'll replace 1 inch on the side. On the chest line, I'll take the measurement and replace. We'll connect from the chest to the waist for the replacement, and then we are going to take the measurements what we have cut out on that back line, just a little before we connect. So after that, that is all. Okay, I'll just mark that 3 inches again on this new side and reconnect my basque line. So this is the zipper line now and our pattern is ready. So if you want to cut out the underbust and use another fabric for front and back, no problem, but I just want a straight back, okay, with the same fabric. So you can cut out and use different fabric for both of them. Of course, you understand what I mean in the course of this tutorial. Next, we are going to cut out our pattern. So here I want you to watch and see how my pattern is being cut. I'm following the back line to the side and I'm going to take it all the way to the armhole, like that, to the armhole. Then we are taking it to the center, the shoulder seam line, then take my 7 inches neckline. So if you want the deeper neckline, you cut the other one. Then cut out the underbust. The front piece is ready. The back piece, I will just go ahead and cut out the neckline, shoulder line, armhole line. Take it all the way to the side, to the basque. Then we'll take it to the zip bulge line or zip contour line. So that is it, the pattern is ready. So if you want to cut and separate them at the underbust for the back with different fabric, you can do that. I've cut out my patterns and I've added my seam allowances. So for the center front is on fold, as you can see, and I added 1 inch for my side seam. So the zipper is 1 inch. So but for this particular front piece, I want to show you what you would do if you have enough bust. If you're on a plus size, I will show you what to do. But meanwhile, I'm making this dress for a small size, so I'll just go ahead and cut it. I'll place my fabric on fold as you see me do. So I have placed my pattern on it. I'll go ahead and cut out. Okay, this is for this particular small size I'm making for. So after I'm done cutting it out, I'll show you how to go about the busty type, okay, or how to go about it if you're on a plus size. So right here my pattern is ready. I added 1/2 inch all around the armhole, then 1 inch on the side for your seam allowance. So for a busty person, open up this, you slash it open a little bit. So we are going to slash it open with 2 inches if you're on a very plus size, but if you're on a normal busty side, 1.5 inches is okay. So I'll use this pepper now to cover that part, just to show you how to create your darts. So I'll just open it like I said, 1.5 or 2 inches depending on your size. So I will mark 1.5. So I'll mark 1.5. Next, I'll trim off that pepper. So this is what you are going to place on your pattern. So after cutting your fabric, we are going to create a dart, just a short dart. So I'll just take it to the back as if it's my fabric. Okay, this is how your dart will look like. So by the time you sew that dart, it gives you room for your bust to sit. I believe you understand. So but for this dress, we are not creating any dart. So I will proceed to sew it. This is my lining which I've cut out. So I'm going to sew my neckline with 1/2 inch. So before I do that, make sure you secure your pin with your pins the way you see me do right here. After stitching, next you are going to make a deep notch, okay, to touch that V stitch a little bit, but please don't touch the stitch. I'll flip all my seams to the lining and top stitch. So here is my neckline, is ready. We'll begin to fuse the underbust piece. I have 2 pieces, lining and fabric. Like I said, I use my doll face satin fabric for it. You can also hairstay this part, okay, you can also hairstay it because that part is supposed to be firm. I'm going to pin the center front piece and I'm going to sew from each center front to the other center front. I will do the same for the lining too. I'll place them right side to right side, secure with my pin at the center front and stitch. So this is the result of what I've stitched. You can see both lining and fabric. I top stitched the lining, but please make sure you also notch this part, okay? I will notch it and that is it. So this is the upper bodice for the front. We are going to jump into the sewing of the back bodies. Here is my back bodice. I added 1 inch zipper allowance on the zipper line and on the side. So you can see I hairstayed the back bodice because I'm actually using a light fabric. So my lining, I'm going to place right side to right side and stitch the neckline. I will stitch at 1/2 inch. So make sure you secure with your pins before you stitch. So I'm done with the neckline. I'm going to place notches on it. I left 1 inch open for my zip allowance. So I flip all my seams to the lining and top stitch. I gave it a good press. So this is what I got after I'm done sewing. Now we are going to sew the back to the front piece on their shoulders. So I'm going to place right side to right side for back and front, then flip the lining. Okay, this is a pattern I love to use to finish up my neckline. You flip the lining with the seam lines and then stitch at 1/2 inch. So after stitching, this is what I got. You can see how neat and clean it looks on the inside. So the next we are going to do is to place right side to right side. So I need a perfect inseam finishing for this dress. So you place fabric to fabric, lining to lining, and now shaping your dress. You can take your full body measurement or you take your seam allowance. So here is what I got. You can see a perfect clean finish on the inside, okay? So we are going to create the gathered part by taking the measurement of what we have from the back Basque line all the way to the front to the other end. So here I got 36 inches. So I'll multiply by 2.5 to get my gathers, or 3 inches to have a full gathers. But like I said, I used 3 yards. So what was remaining is what I have here from my 3 yards. I put the length together. The length is 60 inches. So when I put it together, I noticed I had a little misprint. So I'm going to just take my full length right now. So using my pattern, remember when we are creating this pattern, from the waistline, I place my tape, which is 16. So I have 19 inches on that side. So I'll place my 19 inches on the fabric and measure my desired length. So I'm using 45 inches for this. So if you want a shorter length, you can make it to the knee line, which is 41 or 40 inches. I'm going to open up this remaining fabric I have. It was about 2 yards. So I'll just open it up like that. So remember, I'm still going to use part of this for my sleeve. So when you open it up and join, then you can now gather it under the Basque line. Then remove your sleeve as well. So I am going to join it with 1/2 inch. So I can gather to the front and to the back accordingly. So if you're on a bigger size, please 3 yards will not be enough for you. You can go for 4 yards. So this is it. I've joined it. So I'm going to gather, and then sew to the back line. Here you can see I've brought my fabric and the gathered part. So the part I joined before I gathered, I'm going to place it right side to the back line on the center front, then also pin to the end and adjust my gather. So I'm going to stitch right away. So this is what I got after I'm done stitching. For the lining, I'm going to cut 180 degrees flare, that is half a circle. Okay, using the back's measurement I got, divide by 3.14. Here I've cut out my 180 degrees flare. Of course, you know how to cut your flare. So I'm going to attach the center front to the bust line for the lining. I'll go ahead and stitch all around. This is what I got after I'm done stitching the 180 degrees flare lining. Next, we are going to sew our zipper. So this is my zip. I brought the dress, so we'll be able to take the measurement of the zip. So I'm matching from the neckline only the fabric. So because we need a perfect inseam finishing, I'll just go ahead and measure only the fabric for the zipper. We are going to attach on the fabric alone. So here is where my zip got to. So I'll just make a mark like 2 inches above the zip or 1 inch above the zip. But don't forget to put the backs together. So I put the backs together and I have stitched close. Of course, you know how to sew your zip. So after stitching close, we'll mark only on the fabric 1 inch, 1 inch. I'm going to mark it on both sides. After marking on this side, I turned it to the other side, so I'll continue to mark. So marking this 1 inch guides my stitches. Okay, when I'm stitching on the machine, it guides my stitches. So I'll go over to the machine now. I'm going to stitch only on the fabric. So right here you can see I've stitched only on the fabric. So I'm going to bring out the lining and face them right side to the main fabric. Follow the zipper stitches with my zipper foot and stitch. After stitching, I'll open up the zip to show you how neat and clean the inside is. This is the perfect inseam method I love to use. So we are going to sew the sleeve right now. So I just got the remaining piece of my fabric and I placed it on fold. I'm going to use my basic sleeve pattern and I'll show you how to cut this sleeve. This is my basic long sleeve pattern. I'm going to place it the way you see me place here. So the upper part of this sleeve, we are going to sew it just basic. but the lower part of this sleeve we are going to add elastic. So I measured 6 inches. I measured 6 inches from that line to my basic sleeve and 6 inches the other way too. So we'll now connect it to the seam allowance we are going to create on that basic sleeve armhole. Now, after marking your seam allowance, my seam allowance is 1 inch. I'll connect it to the 6 inches. So you can see how this is how your sleeve is supposed to look like. I'll do the same the other side too. And I'm going to connect from that 1 inch to the 6 inches on the other side. After that, I'm going to cut. So I will cut adding half an inch seam allowance on top of my sleeve. Then I'm going to follow the sleeve marking. Okay, so the upper part of this sleeve, like I said, is normal basic sleeve, but the down piece of it, we exaggerated it a little bit and added elastic. So make notches on the sleeve grain line and on the front. So this is what your sleeve is going to look like. I'm going to pick up one of my sleeve now and I'm going to create the elastic casing. So you have to create it the way you create your elastic casing and stitch on it. So here I'm done creating the casing. My elastic length is 9 inches. Okay, the elastic length is 9 inches. So I'm going to pass my elastic into the casing, but don't allow it to flip in. So right there, I'm going to secure with my pin, then continue passing it. We'll also top stitch at that point. I'll pass it till I get to the other end, and I'll also top stitch. So right here, I'm done with the elastic. I'll put the size of my sleeve and I'm going to stitch. After stitching, I'm going to sew this sleeve to the main dress. So I'm going to turn the wrong side and insert my sleeve. I'll pin the sleeve grain line to the dress shoulder line and the armhole sleeve to the dress armhole, both the lining and the fabric. So right here, after pinning, I'll go ahead and stitch around my sleeve at half an inch. This is what I got after I'm done sewing. So you can see this dress is actually very beautiful. So you can make the little adjustment on the neckline if you want. So if you look at the Basque line, you can see it's a little bit longer. So what I usually do, if you want it to be the same length, we are going to trim it up. But if you don't want, you can leave it to form a Basque on the down part. So for me, I just want it to be the same length. So I'll go ahead and cut it out after I stretched it and noticed the length. So that is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for coming and see you in the next one. Bye.